just lift it
You
open.
can actually see it.
Ah, yes, yes, yes. There's a blog. Know all about that? We had dinner with them. He was teaching us things. We're good friends, yes.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm very excited to be talking to Winifred Norlander from the Nuon Solar team. They are going to describe, she's going to give you some indication of all the wonderful things they've achieved, but I'm going to move the conversation towards how these seemingly frivolous things are generating wonderful technologies that are going to be enjoyed by everyone. And first of all, we need to really understand what machine we have here. Could you go through it, Winifred, please?
Yes. So hi, I'm Winifred, and this is my solar car. So she's called Nuna, and it's actually the 7th solar car that we've built so far. As you can see, it has a solar panel of about 6.8 meters, and it's a silicon solar panel. So it's basically the same solar cells as that you will find on your roof. The car has a top speed of 160 kilometers an hour, which makes sure that it can drive during normal traffic and even be able to drive in a traffic jam or to be in the middle of a city and handle traffic lights. The car is built of carbon fiber, which means that it's really light. So it's only 150 kilograms, which means that we can basically lift it with 4 people and move it off the road if it needs to be moved. This is where the driver sits. This is what we call the canopy, and as you will see, it's really thin, like the rest of the car, and it's made of carbon fiber. So this is the steering wheel, as you can see, and it has the braking and the gas pedals on the steering wheel and not on the floor. So it's all electrical, and the only mechanical part is the brake, which is on the right hand side, which is our emergency brake actually. It gets really, really hot in here during the race, about 55 degrees Celsius, and that's why our driver needs to take a lot of water with him. So 3 liters for 3 hours, and then all the sweat, of course, because the driver will be sweating a lot, is actually drained down the car because there's a small hole in the bottom of it.
Good. Now, is it really true that you seek very thin people to drive the car?
Well, a lot of people think that, but no, because to eliminate the human element, we're actually giving every driver sand with him or water to top off the driver to 80 kilograms. So in that way, it really is a technical race and not a human race.
Ah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Okay, let's talk technology.
There we go.
The windows at the moment, what are they made of? Acrylic perspex, is it?
Yes.
And there's some interest in something else?
Yeah, well, I'm not entirely sure if I can tell this yet.
No. Okay. Well, the point is that there's materials advances are possible, not just in the solar panels themselves will evolve and all that. Can we talk about, you did some work with concentrators, you had an interesting aspect there.
Yeah. So as I told you before, our solar car only has 6.0 square meters of solar array. Well, this car doesn't actually have 6.0 square meters, it only has 5.79 square meters, which means that we still had a tiny piece of area left that we could use. So we actually built these concentrators with the last parts of the solar array, and then during the race when we had a static charging stop, we take them out of the trunk, because this car actually does have a trunk, and we take them out to do the static charging. So in that way we'd have the tiny pieces of solar cell, and then the concentrator, which is actually just bent glass, will focus on that, and we could still make use of it.
And you've got the wheels, the suspension, you've made advances in that, and there's further to go, is there?
Yes, so as you can see, you can't actually see the wheels because they're covered by wheel covers, and that's because of aerodynamics. The suspension is in there and it's of aluminium, and at the moment we're looking if we can do some more optimization about that as well. And did you know that the aerodynamics of this car is actually only the same as a side mirror of your normal car?
It's just incredible. The whole car has the drag of a side mirror. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, so that's why it's so fast, I guess.
Yes, that's amazing. And in the Netherlands, I don't know, you're famous for much more than tulips, windmills, and people 2 meters tall. You obviously are doing amazing things. There's another team, I gather, in the Netherlands who have a car that actually donates to the grid.
Yeah.
Incredible. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a solar car for multiple people. So this is really a Formula One racing car, and we're trying to push technology so that we used in the consumer business, while the other car is more focusing on getting the car itself in the consumer business. Therefore, it has 4 people, and for instance, it's donating energy to the grid.
It's wonderful. And the Netherlands is a good place to be, isn't it? I'm amazed when I go to the Netherlands, in Amsterdam last week. There are a lot of electric vehicles now, aren't there? There's
Yes.
an attitude, a good attitude. And the politicians are talking of banning internal combustion engines, are they?
Yes, a lot of the big cities already have banned some older vehicles, and they're now stimulating the use of electric vehicles, which is going really well actually. And there's also been some more really great changes in the Netherlands when we're talking about sustainable energy. For instance, a while ago the first solar road was opened. So this is a cycle track which is completely covered in solar cells.
Yes.
70
yes.
meters long, and it's already providing 3 houses per year of power. So that
Yes,
will
we
be
have
a
a
great
talk
breakthrough.
on that, and of course that could be dynamically charging vehicles as they go along, which would be wonderful. So I suppose it's not your solar racing world, but presumably there's scope for other things. We heard yesterday Professor Pietro Perlo, who used to run Fiat Research, and he's developed an electric Castor vehicle, which was everyone was having a laugh. But the point is, when it stops, it's not just got big solar cells that come out as a sort of moving restaurant. It has a telescopic turbine on a telescopic pole, so he gets wind power as well. And some people have done that with road vehicles, although in a city there's no wind, I suppose, usually. But is there any other types of harvesting that you might not be allowed in the race, but do you encounter any of that world?
Yeah, so as you say, we can't really use any other energy than the energy that we get from the sun. So even though this vehicle would actually be really suitable for letting the wind push it, we're not really allowed due to regulations. But as you can see, the vehicle is built up like 3 wing shapes, sort of. That's also why it's so aerodynamic. So the wind kind of still pushes it along. Also makes it difficult for the driver on the other hand, but I guess that's one of the great challenges of being the driver.
No, that's wonderful, it's great. I mean, but it's certainly in the tradition of the Solar Impulse plane going around the world and the Touranor boat going around the world all on sunshine, I can imagine. And so in times to come, it's difficult to dream, and I can't ask you your secrets anyway, but presumably there will be better solar cells coming along. And I know there's some research on transparent solar cells, and the rules might not let you, but you could have solar cells all over that window and still see out of it. That would be wonderful, wouldn't it?
Yes.
And with a car over the lights and everything like that. And I don't know if it harvested it. Some of them harvest infrared and ultraviolet, I think. You might be allowed that by the rules if there was something that came along. I mean, the research labs, they do.
That would definitely be interesting to look at.
It could be, yeah. Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. So good luck. I think what you're doing is absolutely marvellous. And we have the solar roads being presented at the end of our conference here, so we're very close to that world. And we look forward to seeing you in our event in California. You're going to be a star turn in Silicon Valley. We'll wow them. The Europeans are doing very exciting things. Thank you very much.
Well, if you'd like to know more, just go to our website www.nuonsolarteam.com or follow us on Twitter at nuonsolarteam.com, and we'll keep you posted about the latest news on our solar vehicle.
Wonderful. You're very good. Wonderful.
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks. Well done.
La degustazione la ci vuole.